Well, what's the crack? You're all very welcome to Buckshot. I don't know what the number is. I'm getting rid of numbers. Anyway, like I said to you the last day, you're all very welcome. Tom O'Mahony here. Your host. Your fucking host, lads. I'm not going to stay too long. I'm quite literally on the fly. I've just stopped in at the parents' place in Tipperary. Like I said, I'd get this recorded, get it edited, and on down the fucking road again. On down the road again. I think this is coming out Saturday morning, Friday night. I don't know wherever you're listening to, what part of the world, because I've been looking at the Geo thing on the old fucking podcast provider, and you're all over the fucking road. It's all over the shop. It's brilliant. People in fucking places where I didn't even know they had fucking listened to podcasts. So you're very welcome. If it's your first time, hit subscribe. It's unreal. It's out twice a week. Class. Pure happiness. Shouting and roaring. Bollocking. Ramblepod on Tuesdays is just me fucking losing my mind. This is a bit more civilised where I talk to actually nice, talented people and whatnot. So, you're all very, very welcome. Thank you very much to the Patreon gang. New blast. I've met on another set of microphones. So, that'll be Patreon people have paid for that. And to say thanks, you get the back catalogue of the Tom and Jerry show. And from next Tuesday onwards, I have organised it. I've sorted. You will have a live stream where you can jump on and actually look at my head. And we can have a chatsy-watsies during the old podcast. I'll give you a tee up. And this is purely for the Patreons, lads. So, because you gotta wet those people's beak. They're giving me a couple of dollars every month. You gotta give them something. I believe you gotta give them something anyway. And, yeah. That's the fucking crack. I'll talk about gigs next week, next Friday. I'm in Portlaoise, which I think may be sold out. I don't know. It was looking like it was fairly close to sold out. I got a message yesterday morning. So I don't know if there's anybody from Portlaoise listening. Jump on it. I'm in Kavanagh's. I'm there with Mark Doherty and the mighty Emma Dorn. Right, moving on to today's guest. What a fucking talent. This is the first for Buckshot. We actually have music, live actual music in the middle of this one, and what a fucking singer this chap is. We ran into each other at Colin Geddes' gig upstairs in Whelan's. We were chatting afterwards. Solo artist, music maker, fucking songwriter and singer, and actually musicianer around town. Dan Elliott is his name. He's a fucking talent, and it's just class to see somebody doing it not by themselves and actually fucking quality at it, like, you know what I mean, and not being a hacky route or anything like that, and happy as fuck. Really, really fun podcast. Great bloke. And like that, I don't know what I was fucking doing, trying to record music and record, because I don't know anything about this shit, lads. I don't know what I'm doing. Just shouting at you into your ear holes. I think it came out as clean as I can possibly make it. There was a bit of a fizz in the background. I think it might have been like the electrics in where we recorded. We recorded upstairs in Foley's, which is where Dan is resident twice a week. I think Saturdays and Thursdays. I could be wrong now, but I'd say if you followed him on Instagram or any of those, you'll find out fairly, or just message him where the fuck it's going to be, because he also plays a couple of nights a week in Templemore. If he does, he plays in the Garda Barracks in Templemore. Yeah, he plays in Temple Bar. His show in Whelan's is sold out, so keep checking it out, because he's playing next week, but they may move it to a bigger venue because it's sold pretty fucking early out. So, which is unbelievably brilliant to hear that comedy and music, the good guys and girls are fucking winning. Do you know what I mean? Beating the fucking system and doing it by themselves and not needing a big fucking machine behind it peddling some fucking shite or some sob story. Just pure talent is making it. And it's quality to hear. I fucked up on the very first song. I only got recording about halfway in because I'm a fucking idiot and I was enjoying it so much. But I got the other two songs and his debut single himself. So, you know what I mean? You'll see what I mean, or you'll hear what I mean by the fucking standard of how good this man is to sing. And good crack he is too. Hell of a nice guy. So follow him on all platforms. Check it out afterwards. Just have a look for old Dan Elliott. So for now, sit back and enjoy the very brilliant Dan Elliott. We're not live. We're clearly fucking pre-recording this a couple of days beforehand.
Well,
how are you getting on, Dan?
I'm super. Why are you?
I'm very, very good.
What's
this
the
is a
crack?
plush surroundings, isn't it?
This isn't bad now.
This is nice. Coffee, the whole shack.
Telling you what, boy, we look after you. Here in Foley's Bar on Baggot Street.
I mean, like for the absolute like bollocks fest that's walking around outside in that street, like and the thing is, I should fit in with a lot of these people because I've played these characters on television and stuff. But
true
like,
enough, yeah.
Jesus Christ, there's some stones around here, like, isn't there? Like a fella just had tried to have a go at me for it. Now I tell you one thing. I was going for a parking space just up, which 20 minutes it took me to find a space. And I found it just around the corner.
You weren't. I was here early, man. I was here not even on time. I was early.
I potentially could have been early. I was here. I was passing the front door of this fucking
coulda,
place.
Shoulda, woulda.
And this fella in America kind of started beeping at me because I was going into space that he clearly was eyeballing. And I pulled up the fucking handbrake. I was ready to get out and fight. I had to kind of catch myself and go, Tom, you're not outside a fucking mart in Tipperary. Like you can't just square up to these.
Wouldn't be used to it. He would have had a fella come and take care.
Yeah,
of you.
this is the thing. Like he would have had a button in the car to come and take care.
Even as you say that, this street has some of the best pubs going in Dublin.
That's
some
the
of
other
the
most if I'm going drinking in town, this is where I'll come. Like,
yeah.
Because they are the best. It's the best pubs in town.
Yeah.
Like.
Have you been in Toners? You have.
Oh,
smoking area in Toners is unbelievable. On a
sunny day out there, unreal. There's one other place that it reminds me of, and I don't know. Are you from Cork City?
I'm not from Cork City, from near Ballincollig.
Right.
Ballincollig.
There's a spot outside what's it called? Jesus Christ, I think it was the bar called the Wolfhound. It was on as you go up Barrack Street.
Right.
It was on the right as you go up, and it was only just like it wasn't at the peak or anything. It was only like 150 yards up, and it was like for ages it was a pub that had no sign outside because they were redoing the front of it for ages.
Right.
And one day, myself and a mate of mine were on a bit of an old lash. He was after breaking up with some bird, and I was the bloke to go to because I didn't have a bird for ages. So it's like, here I need to go on the rip. Grand.
It's called Tom.
And by pure fluke, we were working our way down along. We went, fuck, we go into this place to see what the crack is, and out the back. This oasis just opened up. There was nobody in the pub.
There's nothing better in the whole world.
The sun was starting to come up, and it would just get real bright. And it was about 3:00 in the day, and Munster had won a match earlier that day, so we were in powerful form.
Yeah.
And we walked in, and it was like, they're grand. We have a couple of quiet pints in here. Next thing, your man was nosy. He stuck his head out the back. He said, "Come out to fucking have a look at this table service and everything." Like,
stop.
And we were both smoking fags at the time. We were both smokers. Stop. It was just. And there was about 40 people out the back, and some fella bust out a banjo. Sure, we didn't fucking leave. We didn't leave till about 10 o'clock at night.
I was in Tullamore just a couple of days ago doing a gig for a friend of mine.
Right.
And we went to a bar called Kelly's. We're in the Brewery Tap first. I don't know if you've been to Tullamore.
Yeah. I'm there tomorrow night, actually.
Oh, there you go. Brewery Tap, lovely spot. And then we went down to a place called Kelly's, and he said there's a trad session going. I was just mighty.
Yeah.
Few pints in now. I'd been singing songs already. I was well on for it. I went in, and the trad session, I said session, I was picturing 7, 8 lads, like, there's just 3 fellas in a corner, 2 acoustic guitars, and a guy on kind of not a bongo drum, but kind of a big kind of round drum. They were singing away, but it was kind of like extremely inoffensive. It was lovely. In the background, and kind of
busting strings.
The perfect level of whatever. Right, and then every now and again, the whole pub would stop because they'd sing the Out Triangle. Or they'd sing Caledonia, never sing the chorus back. And it was just, and I wasn't even like particularly drunk. I was just kind of like,
in a lovely place.
This is just a lovely place now to be sitting down.
I think there's no greater place in life to be than maybe 6 pints in.
Oh, stop.
Isn't that the greatest place to be? Because when you're 10 pints in, you're flaming, like, you know what I mean?
And like, to be fair now, would get flaming, and I'm not old, but I'm getting better at not getting flaming as I get older, if that makes sense. I know that I'm kind of on the way to
time for a bag of
being
chips.
flaming.
Exactly. Well, and this is the thing, because I don't drink I don't get to fucking drink as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
I'm very
it's the honest truth.
I'm very keen.
I'm
very
absolutely
keen, but because when you're driving constantly every fucking weekend,
I know,
you just don't, and it's. But when I do, like we went on an unmerciful rip there it was Ireland beat the All Blacks, actually. It was last November. It was just up the road in, where did we go? Donhu's, across the road.
Class.
And like that, I was like a youngster who was after getting, or the fellas as a dog with 2 Mickeys. I didn't know what to do with myself. The boys weren't going to be on. I got into town far earlier than I thought. The Lewis was in quick and all the rest of it.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, I have a good hour and a half before the match even starts.
Oh, stop.
And
sure, I'll have...
I pint, and before I knew it, then I was just getting busy in here. I better get 2 as I go up to the bar. There was a fella eyeballing me beside me. I could see himself and the mister started laughing. He goes, "Jesus Christ, you only just left out of it." I said, "Kinda."
No.
And he says, "We saw you in the laughter lounge about 2 weeks ago." He says, "I was going to go."
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he goes, "I was going to buy you a pint." He says, "Next you were gone." I said, I was driving, and this is my story. But then I had to catch myself, because even it was him laughing that made me go, "Here, Tom. Steady up the fucking ship now. You're drinking pints like a fucking fellow who's just running out of pints, like, you know."
I was doing a cover gig. It might have been a year ago now, and it was this. It It's a really dangerous time for a cover gig. It's like Saturday at 7:30.
Okay.
I was filling in for a fella, but with another fella.
Right.
So if you show up to a gig on your own, you're kind of like, oh, get in there, I'll play the gig, I'll have the crack, and I'll head away. But he was with another fella, and he was having, I was like, it's like a whiskey honey liqueur kind of thing. It's for his voice. They had it behind the bar, like. But I thought only recently I asked him again what it was, because I thought it was just whiskey and honey.
Right.
But it's some sort of a liqueur. And if that's how you say it, I don't know. But
well, liqueur ruins that for me now, because when you said whiskey and honey, I'm going, oh, jeez. And then you said liqueur, and I'm thinking, well, that sounds like an old one's fucking drink.
See,
like,
whatever it was, he drinks it for his voice.
Okay.
So he was just having one or two.
So you get caught on.
And I kind of...
Honestly, I was just having it for my voice.
I arrived half an hour early. A bit like that. I was early, like. And
right,
I was like, I'm not going to stand here.
Yeah.
I had a pint. And then, I was like, I'd already ordered the next pint when he walked in, because I was going to have a second pint while I sang, that's all. It was only two was all I was having. And the liqueur came along, and I was like, jeez, that's...
He got you a liqueur?
He did, yeah. And then I was like, oh, jeez, that's powerful. I must get him one back. And he got me one. And all of a sudden, you're having the greatest gig of your entire life. Like, you're unbelievable at singing when you're after 5 or 6, whatever they are, it's liqueurs or pints. And then it's only 9:30. You're finished your evening's work.
Oh, lovely.
You're after 6 or 7 drinks. And sure, you were on stage, making a show of yourself, so everybody knows who you are.
Yeah.
Everybody will shadow 80.
And what was the protocol there then? Does a DJ kick in, or what's happening?
No, this was Temple Bar now. So I do quite a lot of gigging in Temple Bar, and have done for the last few years. Man, there'd be places in Temple Bar that would have gigs from midday till 2 in the morning.
Jesus.
Literally, like. So this place that I was playing is the Keys. That would have been...
Oh, yeah, right on the corner there.
Yeah.
Galway own bars, isn't it?
Jeez, I wouldn't even know now.
That's the way, like, we're in as you said, we're in a Monaghan bar right now.
Yeah.
Typically around Dublin, if it isn't fucking Tipperary.
That's the thing. I remember you saying that once.
It's ridiculous. We're like the fuccking Jews of fucking pub owners. There's actually a society. There's actually a society of Tipperary
lads
pub owners
who own pubs.
Yeah, it was up in
it's a
Chaplin's
cartel.
Bar.
Yeah.
And I remember the daughter of the owner who has the Halfpenny, who's from Tip as well.
Yeah.
She was going, oh no, there's actually...
The bridge in, like...
Yeah, the Halfpenny Bridge in, like, and she was saying that there's actually a society. I said, like a fucking handshake as well, or what's the fucking crack? Like, she says, no, there's... And lo and behold, there was a poster of the boys were all going meeting on a...
No way.
Yeah, in Chaplin's Bar, they were all going on a session.
I think of The Simpsons, the Stonecutters.
Yeah. That's a bad one. That's a bad So you'd originally... So you came straight out of Ballincollig. Teaching was the plan, was it?
Well, the plan really was to play music.
Right.
It was kind of as of about 17 when I kind of... I wouldn't have played much music growing up, actually. Played the piano, did a bit of singing.
Right.
But even though my dad played in a trad band for years, it never kind of... I was always sports growing up.
Yeah.
Music never kind of occurred to me, really.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have sang in front of anybody till I was 15 or 16 years old. It was like a school talent show and a TY, school play or whatever. And all of a sudden, I got a taste for it, I guess. And it quite quickly became the only thing I was interested in doing.
Right.
So when I went to college, to be fair now, I wanted to do teaching, but I was definitely looking at it toward, with an eye towards playing music as well. Like teaching might facilitate that. And as opposed to going to Mary, I went to Pat's in Drumcondra.
Yeah.
Again, with the view to move. I thought Dublin would be a better place to set up shop music-wise.
Good idea, yeah.
Took a year out after the first year up, and I went back to Pat's after the year out thinking I'll kind of do both.
Yeah.
Kind of figured I'll do both of these full time.
Kicking at night and
That'll be fine, yeah. That'll be completely grand. And I did teaching practice, which, would be the hectic thing of being a teacher. And I did 3 weeks teaching practice, continued gigging full time throughout the week of teaching practice.
Right.
The week off, which is your week to rest or whatever, was Paddy's week. I think I did 18 gigs in 10 days.
Jesus.
And as the following week rolled around to go back to college, I just couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get out of bed for 2 days. And the writing was somewhat on the wall at that point.
Yeah, so the teaching got the
elbow, teaching got the boot, yeah. Left us to play full time. Kind of said, no, it was going well. It is going well. So I kind of said, look, this is what I want to do. Why would I not do what I want to do? And
absolutely
have a cut off it, like.
But that's that was always. I remember even growing up, the Owlad was always kind of like. Now we weren't a musical family in any way, and for me, at the very same, it was just sports. Like, you grew up in South Tipperary.
It was inconceivable I wouldn't play for Manchester United in my own mind.
Yeah.
You mean Keno?
For me, it was just hurling. That's all it was, hurling and just whatever. But I was always thinking. I remember the Owlad saying, "Jesus Christ, would you You should. Because I remember my mother was a very good singer. Dad had a note in his fucking head, but she was just a good singer of it, a person who can sing. And I could probably... Like, I understood my limits, you know what I mean? You know, you see these lunatics turn up at the X Factor stuff and they're going, but Aaron, I'm not class. Going, how have you not got ears? Like, I knew my limits.
And how has nobody stopped you before you got out here?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, well, how have you not stopped yourself? How are you not hearing yourself?
Surely your mother or father was like, and are you sure you want to go on TV doing this?
But I remember, like, because I have, you know, like, say, a very good singer will say has 1 to 10. Do you know, of a range.
Right.
I have maybe 4 and 5.
Right.
That's where, and I knew if I could hold in there, I could hold an old tune of some sort. And I remember the old lad saying, "Going, Jesus Christ, would you not just a handy backup? Would you not go away and fucking stop playing sports and for a minute and go away and learn how to play? Play fucking 3 strings on it. Fucking Johnny Cash got by on 3 fucking strings to bollocks, and he wasn't much of a singer either. Like, do you know, he was a fine singer, but his songs were, you know." And he had a great backstory, you know. But he was kind of saying this because you go anywhere in the world, you'll never be out of work.
Yeah.
If you can,
no, it is a huge thing. It is, like,
you know. Now being a very good singer is even bonus. But he was going, look, you could tick by and you'll get free drink. He was thinking, a man that has free drink and free sandwiches will get by in life.
And you know, like, even just to be able, because like obviously you're a funny gas kind of character yourself. If you could play a certain number of songs and have the patter with the crowd, of course, that's the ball game, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And we actually got. I remember for our wedding at our drinks reception, as people come in, we wanted to kind of lighten the mood a bit. And we went up to Johnny Fox's the night we got engaged. With
the night you got engaged?
Because we got engaged and we went over to ourselves' parents' place, and they went, "Jeez, powerful news." They live just down the hill from it, so we went, "Let's go up there."
Class.
Went up, and your man, we were in pints fucking galore. I was sucking him down like a fucking a sow. And your man that was playing was brilliant in that he was trying his best to have great banter, but the fucking Americans were all stuck on their iPads, like, he asked us what we were up to, and we says, "Jesus, so he played to fucking us, but he was good crack." That's the fucking key.
My old boy, who was in a band called Murphy's Men,
right,
10, 15 years. It's a 2-piece kind of Irish music piece, and I went to see. He plays every Friday or every second Friday maybe in the Oliver Plunkett.
Right,
yeah. This was the early gig, and I went to see him a couple of weeks ago, and I'd say he sang maybe 3 songs in the first 40 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Because he was just talking to everybody, having the crack, and just like literally just shooting the shit with anybody who talked back to him. Do you know what I mean? But that was like the whole place was enraptured.
Great,
like they're just like this guy's amazing, but he was just, you know,
and
just
like
talking,
that,
having the crack.
Your man had enamoured us so much that I went, "Geez, let's track him down." So we had his name anyway, and we tracked him down, and we rang him and said, "Would you be interested in a day gig, popping over to where we were?" And he said, "Geez, that worked in great." Because obviously I'm not at it, and I'm working tonight, but that'll do great. And but he was really appreciative. He's gone, I said, well, the reason is, I said, I'm a stand-up. I said, and I could get what you were doing. I said, I really, and people had powerful crack at the reception. They really
that's what you need.
Do you know?
Exactly.
So everybody was in a right old form. So there was no clinking of glasses and none of that bullshit. Let him off, and we had, as soon as he was done, we had the speeches done at the top of the stairs. That lasted 9 minutes. That was all 3 men went up, including the priest. Sorry, the priest went up and said fair play to everybody. That was 9 minutes. The Oaks were done. Now, dinner. On to fuck. Give your man a few pound and off.
Class,
he was delighted with himself. You know, nobody, you know, so everybody was in a good old buzz. So technically, even with our old chat, which is really only just, it was essentially me going up, telling a silly couple of jokes. My old fella went up. Herself's old fella went up, and he had properly. Now he was nervous, but he wanted to be all about. My old fella went up like a man who was after receiving the Ireland.
Cheers, coming.
He actually went up.
Oh, really?
With the whole. Thanks very much to all. Like you'd.
Like listing off. It's like
Goramila Mohagot, Willan Cornachlacha. You know, just.
Thanking the venue.
But it was, the idea was your man set the tone because he was so good with the banter and the songs. He knew his role in that he wasn't to overpower the room. It was a drinks reception.
I often think of the gigs that I end up doing. You're not so much. It's not even. Obviously, you're there to play music and entertain. But you're a facilitator. Of people having the crack. Essentially, is what you're there to do. And even sometimes you show up to a gig and maybe you're just not in the form. You're kind of not in the form. It's a long day or whatever, and you just kind of go. You just kind of knock it out, beat for beat. You do, like, you go through the motions, whatever. What actually rises a crowd, and you can see it when you watch other people play, or when I play myself, I see it in the crowd, is when I'm actually engaging with them or having a bit of crack with them. Because if you just go up there, you could sing, you could be the best singer in the world, but if you're no crack at all, it will translate. You'll get them might get them to a certain pitch of having fun, but if you're, having a bit of crack, telling jokes and being funny and, engaging with them, making a show of it, exactly, they'll go to a whole new level.
I've no doubt, because it does make sense, and especially in an Irish environment, no doubt there'll be certain places around the world where you go over to that corner there and you fucking make noise.
Even that Temple Bar thing, just I get the feeling that people are not used to it, because obviously it's all predominantly tourists, and they're not used to seeing somebody, knocking a crack at or something, and someone asking for a song, and me going, sure, that's a shite song, I'm not going to play that.
Yeah.
And everybody laughs, and I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
this never happens
that's
at home.
That's funny, actually, that you would see it in that, because you see so many foreign people coming in Temple Bar, because you're a couple of nights, is it a couple of nights a week you're in Temple Bar, is it?
Well, I only do 2 at the moment. I used to do a lot more.
Right.
And I play in this place that we're in now, Foley's on Baggage Street, and then I do 1 or 2 in Temple Bar every week. And it's some school for setting you up.
Oh, no doubt.
Musically, like a friend of mine was saying, we were at a gig and it was an original music night, and we could tell if you were a musician who did cover gigs and stuff, or had it's all hours under the belt.
Of course,
Do you know what I mean? I think James Morrison said once that he did 200 gigs in a year. So Ed Sheeran said, I'm going to do more than that.
Yeah.
He did 350 gigs in a year.
Yeah.
And then I said, not consciously I'm going to do more than that, but I counted it once. And I was like, I'd gone north of 400 gigs. I think it was over the course of 2016, maybe, or 2017.
Right, yeah.
And that's counting all the pub gigs, but also any open mics you did, any small slots you did anywhere.
Yeah.
But I was doing just serious hours behind a mic in front of people, and even if you are singing, Wonderwall or whatever it is you're singing, you're still running a room, you're still running a night, and it comes across hugely, I think, when people have and haven't done that. Yeah.
And comparatively for you, I suppose it's because you're going on and you may not. It's probably hard to gauge for you some bit, but you would see it if you were doing. Say if you had the stand-up element of how a stand-up happens, you walk on, and you'll see how it behaves. And it's with the. I don't give a shit if it sounds cocky, but if there's a couple of lads on, the other night, right? So I was gigging the other night, and in a club in town. And there's a couple of lads on, they were all young, and I didn't know any of them, they were all fucking buzzing, young or whatever, or they were relatively new, and they'd been doing gigs around the place, and they were up to fucking 90, these lads all thought they were rocking it, and they were all did fine.
Yeah.
And I was out the side just chatting away, and I went, right, time to go on. I went on. And you go on and you fucking destroy. You know what I mean? You just lay waste.
Man, I saw you open for Colin Geddes. It was the first time we met.
Oh, yeah,
and you came out, you were wild when you came out.
Yeah.
You just ripped into it from the word go, and everyone was kind of like, oh my God. And you were hilarious. But the savage energy.
That was the idea of definitely an opening gig. And opening for one of my best friends, too.
Yeah.
I'm not out there to genuinely be, not so much not to be funny, but it's a hype man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of a different
element. Up the energy, get us in the mood.
If you're doing a spot in a show, but it was only afterwards, you get lads kind of looking at that. And the other night was lads were kind of going, right, because these lads were so new they hadn't even seen me. You know what I mean? And they were not to say that they were, but their egos were out of it, but it was good to kind of get them in check, because you can easily see, because you're going, and it's not because I'm amazing, it's because I gig so fucking much.
No, but I can remember when I started in Temple Bar or started playing in Dublin at all, you'd walk off stage and you're a god in your head. You're I am, oh my God. And then the next fella goes on, you're like, oh no, I'm nowhere. Do you know what I mean? He just, you worked so hard for 2 hours to get them to a pitch, and he's 3 songs in and the roof is on fire.
I mean, there's that element too that people are up to, and they're kind of waiting. People can be very polite too, but also you could have warmed them up, and they're into.
True.
You're up to 90 too, so there's a few elements involved, but you see it yourself, when it's easy, and especially in a comedy club environment, to be able to gauge. You go, all right, so that's how it's done. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, and you get lads you see lads, and they're, 7 months into it. Yeah. I did a gig last month. And you're kind of going, oh, good. And
you know?
But I understand their enthusiasm.
Oh, of course.
So I never for a second would be rude about it. I'd go, good on you. Well, you need to do fucking 20.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's all what it is, I think.
Yeah, that's all it is.
You can be the funniest man in the world in your room talking to yourself. Do you know? Or the best singer in the world in your room singing to yourself. You do have to get out and get the hours under the belt.
Do you know what? Will we, now since we've been doing so much, will we have a bit of an old song?
Oh, sure.
I'd love to have an old song. This is inaugural. We're on episode 101, and this is the first person to do any kind of singing. So what I'll do is I'll turn down our 2 mics and I'll turn up the good one over there for you.
And gospel in the air, wherever in green, be glad to see you, and you haven't got a prayer, you got a prayer in Memphis. Mary, you plays piano every Friday of the Hollywood. Brought me down and she heard. They asked me if I would just maybe do a little number. So I sang with all my might. She said, tell me you are a Christian child. And I said, there I am tonight. I was walking in Memphis. Oh, I was walking with my feet 10 feet off the field. Walking in Memphis. Do I really feel the way I feel? Put on my blue suede shoes and I boarded the plane. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blues. In the middle of the pouring rain.
Delighted with that now. That's great. That's the first time, and it looked like on that mic, it looked like it was coming out well on this, and it was just perfect. When did you? So there's obviously a development to singing and all the rest of it. So I mean, were you modeling yourself from the get go on anybody, or were you going, fuck it, I'll just sing and see how it comes out? I mean, is that a thing that's done? I don't know. You see,
I think it is a thing that's done depending. Some people will do it. I don't know if I did. I almost certainly did unconsciously with some people. Like a friend of mine said to me once, if you're writing songs, if you listen to nothing but Bruce Springsteen songs,
yeah,
you're going to write Bruce Springsteen-y songs.
Okay, yeah.
With James Taylor, same thing. I'd imagine, I guess, when I was younger, if I listened exclusively to anybody for a while, maybe I'd adopt a bit of a twang from whoever it was. But no, I think now that I sound like myself now.
That's great. It's a great voice, like. I mean, and when, like, because it's almost like, at what point were you going, I'm sucking fucking diesel here now, like, you know, like at what point from the singing point were you going, or were you in, was it in St. Pat's, you're like, are here? You know, this is actually, I actually sound the business. Like.
I'd started, like I said earlier, I'd kind of started doing, I did a school talent show.
Yeah.
Which went well, didn't win. But look, we won't get into it. It was
bastards.
Robbed. Absolutely.
Straight white male.
Political.
Exactly. What are you going to do?
What was I going to do? So then there was a school show, and that kind of, in my head now, I was like, if I get the lead in the school show.
Yeah.
If I get the lead in the school show. And it was like, I don't know what you compare it to, but it was like they were handing out the roles, and there was like 40 people left, and they had to come up with 2 casts of like 15 people.
Right.
It's like 10 people were being kind of, cut in front of the entire year. They were calling this out in front of everybody.
It's rough.
And it got like the last 3 lads. And it was a play called Sweet Charity. Do you know the song, Hey Big Spender?
Yeah.
Musical. So it's kind of a female-dominated musical. But there was a lead male. And my friend Angus, he got one of them.
Right.
And then me and my best friend, like literally my best friend, were left. Yeah. Just the 2 of us. In front of like 200 people. They had to just give one of us the part. And the other fella got jack shit. Like, I was just, like, I remember thinking at the time, like, this is
Hunger
like,
Games shit.
Have you ever seen Warrior?
Yeah.
Where he fights the brother.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what this is. I got it. And
fuck that guy.
Painfully awkward at the time. But in my head, for whatever reason, I thought that was a big thing to get the lead role. It probably wasn't at all. But when you're 16 and in the bubble you're in, And from there, I think I kind of started busking. My dad was gigging, so I would be his like halftime act.
Okay,
The joke was the CD player broke, so we taught him how to play the guitar. And you go up, and I'd sing for half an hour, and it all went from that. I would sing for half an hour. Dad would be playing like all trad, and I go up, and it'd be whatever, somebody's 30th birthday, or it'd be whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd be singing Ed Sheeran songs, or whoever, Springsteen, or whatever. And eventually, I kind of got a gig of my own. Somebody would see me and be like, will you play at my son's whatever?
Right, yeah.
And it all kind of went from there. And it was a natural sort of progression that I just started playing more and more at more and more stuff. Started playing original, like, kind of youth nights in Cork City when I was 16, 17. And kind of just, as I went on, I kind of just felt that I was growing into it. And I'd start to write songs. Yeah. And sort of, I just kind of fell in love with it. It wasn't even, I never kind of thought like, geez, I'm the business here. I could have a career at this. Yeah. It was just what I loved doing.
Well, that's the handy way of going about it, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah.
So I just kept doing it, and the more and more, like I was in Pats, and now I loved being in college. Yeah, college crack was class, but being a teacher, I really, really enjoyed being in a classroom. And if I was to go back and do anything, if I ever were to stop playing music, it'd be that probably. But I was just, it was never kind of, it was just I knew what I wanted to do. Yeah, and it wasn't kind of like I had no plan. Yeah. I just wanted to sing songs and write songs, and I wanted to have a go off. I kind of knew I would never be comfortable with myself if I didn't have a proper cut off it.
Well, that's, I mean, it's a thing that fucking a lot of people kind of, because you can't express it enough to people. And I know so many wanky fucking, if you work hard, and that doesn't translate to your average Joe.
Not really.
But but the reality, it is the fucking reality, like that you do need to pull the trigger, like
so much of it is whatever that saying is. If you're not in it,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It really is. It is actually. It's just become so apparent to me as I've gotten older. The harder I work, the more positive things happen.
It is the truth.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It really is.
And you'd be cursing the amount of you've gone, Jesus Christ, I barely got any sleep. But the reality is,
I'm sure you're the same. You're on the road all the time, up and down the country, doing gigs everywhere. I've been everywhere doing gigs, and you're talking about maybe getting in from a gig at 2 or 3 in the morning, only to be up again at 8 o'clock to be at a thing at 9 a.m. because nobody else has a concept of the fact that you're, it's not their fault. But like my body clock, say, because I'm so often not getting home till 1 o'clock in the morning, just because that's when I finish work, I don't be getting up till whatever 9 or 10 in the morning. But if I have a thing on, whatever it is, if it's a radio spot or it's an interview like this, maybe you've got to be up for wherever it is at 9, and your body clock's all over the place, and you're not sleeping, and you're whatever.
But nobody gives a fuck about that.
Getting a bit headless,
and this is the thing that sometimes I think people have a bit of a whinge about. I find, especially when you're working for yourself, you go, nobody gives a fuck. They want you for when they want you, and that's it. And if you're professional, then that won't be an issue. There's nobody wait. Do you know what? Bit of a late one last night, so can we push it back? It's like, nah.
Yeah. And I'm 24, and as I've gotten older, like, say me and my friends, we're all musicians, singer, songwriters. Yeah. We're like, okay, we're going songwriting Tuesday morning, 11 o'clock, my gaff, your gaff, whatever. Yeah. One of us, because we were a bit younger, we'll be getting like, man, I was on the sauce there last night. Push it back to 2. Then it's like 4 o'clock. Like, are you coming? Coming where?
Yeah.
And as you get older, the professionalism kind of become, you get older and you get more professional.
Oh, absolutely. Like, and the sauce anymore. Has to happen. All those things have to happen. Like,
so much of, there was like a period there where I was just gigging in pubs, and I was drinking a lot, and I was having a load of crack, and I was learning my trade in one sense, but I wasn't actively moving forward. In terms of the original stuff. That took me a while to get together. But it was like, it's all life experience. It's all stuff that I have wouldn't trade. And you need that.
Well, you do, especially if you're going to be bantering with the audience or whatever. You know what I mean? And also not to fucking take a hit, because you're going to meet, because you technically probably have 200 bosses. You know what I mean? So there's, there's,
in that sense,
so you have to, there has to be a level, there's going to be a couple of cunts amongst that. And you have to be able to sidestep and not get emotionally, they were really mean to me. So what? Did they pay? Grand. Move on.
Happy days. Yeah.
And it probably does make people, it's probably made me a touch cold from time to time, because when people then are really nice, you're like, are you able to accept it? You know what I mean? But you will build a hard nose to these things where but for the most part, I suppose, it's just, can you show up? That's honestly, is the amount of, I would say, the bigger gigs I've gotten and the bigger roles and things I've gotten, a lot of it is, one thing is talent, being able to do the job, but can you
a
fucking
lot
show
of it's
up?
dependability.
Yeah.
It's not, it's will you show up, one, but it's like, will you show up and, you know,
And do the job.
9.5 times out of 10, will you do the job
Yeah.
you know, that we're paying you for?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, is this gig definitely going to be a very good gig? Which is not always the case, I suppose.
Well, you can't, and but and also as you were learning, we were talking about beforehand. Like, there's grand to be kind of, you know, not fully in the form for a gig and all the rest of it.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
One of the things
you have to be 100% on.
Yeah, like I talked to one of my mates out gigging a couple of years after me up in Dublin, and I said, just one of the pieces of advice that I got, which I passed on, was no matter what kind of form you're in, you have to leave it at the door.
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And like if I walk in and I'm in, you know, bad form for whatever reason, I set up my gear and I go for a walk. I set up the gear because if there's a stage and the gear's safe on the stage, and I go off and I just do a lap of the building or something, do a lap of whatever, go off and buy
It's a great call, actually.
bar of chocolate or anything, you know, just to get out and just be like, look, the problem is not going to get fixed in the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, whatever the problem is. Or even sometimes it's just you're in shit form. It's like, well, you're in shit form. Nothing you can do about it. Get up there and have a bit of crack, and you'll find by the end of the gig you're in much better form.
Oh yeah.
And have to have the crack.
Well, mulling over old shite, and that goes for everybody, I think.
Yeah.
Mulling over old shite, good for nothing.
Absolutely.
Good for nothing. Go do something else.
Have you ever met Alan Cochrane, the comedian?
Oh, is he? He's not Welsh, is he?
No, he's English. But I haven't met him. But
I think
there's a podcast called The Comedians.
Is it Alex Cochrane?
No, it's, what do they call him?
No, I think you just call him Alan.
Alan Cochrane. Yeah, it is. No, it's Alan. Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it?
Is it?
Is he a fair-haired fella?
Red, kind of ready, rusty kind of.
Sounds very familiar. I'd
He was
say
on
I
Rock
have
the
at
Week
some stage.
a few times, and he was on a Comedians Comedian podcast.
I know the one, yeah.
So, not to be mentioning other podcasts on your podcast.
It's grand.
But
grand.
He said one time that he'd gone an entire day without speaking until he got on stage.
Yeah.
He walked out and said hello. And I think a part of it is, like, you might be in shit form just because all you're doing all day is thinking.
Yeah.
And I find that in this game, when so much of it is done, I found now, because like the single has just come out, and I'm doing all the promo work myself, and everything I'm doing, I'm kind of doing, and it's being viewed by other people as I do it, if that makes sense. Everything you're doing, you're gearing it towards presenting it.
Yeah.
And when any job you finish, it's because you've just put it out into the world now, and everybody can, whatever. And everyone's been really positive about it, but it's still kind of it's a weird thing to be so extroverted all the time, kind of as your profession almost.
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah. And especially I find doing comedy is people nearly get to like, oh, but you're not a lunatic in real life. You're like,
yeah. I'm completely not.
What
like,
were you expecting?
Like in fact, I am extroverted when I perform, and I'm a very talkative guy.
Yeah.
Guy, but I naturally enough would be a sort of a keep to myself kind of a guy.
Yeah.
But, you know, my job is to not do that. And, like, I'm all over social media all the time, pushing the single and gigs I'm doing and everything. But my natural sort of whatever would be to not necessarily do that.
Well, that's the difference between, I suppose, what Facebook, I suppose, and what social media is, and that you're pushing your brand and your business. You know what I mean? And there's two separate things. Like we talk about it at home as physically, myself and the missus, we talk about Tom as if it's a third person. Genuinely, like,
I know what you mean.
It's the product you're selling.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like, because typically I walk around and I have the angriest face on the planet.
Yeah.
But I tell jokes for a fucking living.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly,
I mean? So, like, everybody says it, like, the amount of people that said, Jesus Christ, I nearly wasn't going to say hello to you. Whatever it is on my face. But
as I was saying about if you spend a lot of time on your own, say, I might be, say, on my own, working away all day, having a very good day or whatever. And by the time I get to you have to shift gears when you go and perform. You have to, like, okay, I'm great crack now. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though, like, perfectly nice guy all the time, but now I have to be great crack. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know, like, some people have very definitive ways of kind of, you know, I don't know, I suppose getting themselves in the zone, but maybe I did one time, but I have it down now to about 3 seconds.
Right.
Down now to, like, quite literally like that the other night. I was just standing by the side of the stage. Your man who was hosting was kind of making a fucking bags of it, like.
Yeah, and you're thinking about, I've got spaghetti bolognese left at home.
Yeah, quite literally. I was going, Jesus Christ, must get a drop of diesel on the way home now. Will the petrol station be open? And quite literally, name went. I was like, right, here we go. I walk out, big smile on my face. Bang, here we go. 20 minutes of down your fucking pipe. Yeah. You know, and I didn't think about that until you just said it, and it's like, oh yeah, well that's definitely a thing.
I find as soon as you're in, you're in.
Ah yeah, yeah. Once you're into it, and it's the best place in the world to be then, because you're on stage and you're, you know.
Oh, like I was gigging last night and I was like, this is amazing. This is brilliant.
It's hard to complain, like it really is.
It really is.
Like I you know, because I see lads.
Do you know, I do find that, like, it is hard. being a soul trader, as it were, and it is all for the people. That's all you're being judged, and you're performing, and like there's so much work that goes in that nobody would necessarily know.
Yeah,
all they see is you walk out on stage and you walk off stage, and that's all they think of.
Yeah.
This is your job. They don't know about the rest of it. But I find, and again, God, I've been very lucky. Things have gone well for me so far, but like we do complain a lot. Do you know musicians and creative types,
of course,
we do moan awful. And like, we are still really lucky to be doing what we're doing.
I think a lot of people complain a lot.
Yeah, well,
that's true. They read no more. I'll meet an awful lot of people, like, and I'm interested in people, and just it kind of, even if they're boring the living shite out of me, it's good to meet a boring person, like, so you can gauge it off a fucking an interesting person.
Do you know what I've never liked these people, and I used to live with one. They're the people who kind of like. They have things. They're kind of in control of their life.
Yeah,
and they're crushing it. And they've got the 5 dinners made, and they're in the fridge.
Yeah,
and it's like I go to bed every night this time. And I get this many hours sleep every night. Like there's a fella I used to live with, and whatever his bedtime was, if you were making noise past the time, you can guarantee within 5 minutes he'd be out of bed and he'd come up to you and be like,
"Oh Lord,
would you mind just keeping it down there, lads? I've got a big day tomorrow." It's like it's the same day you have every day.
Yeah, relax.
But it's like, and it's kind of like, in one way, I'm like, I'm envious because. How are you so in control? How do you always get out?
I don't think
everything.
The more of those people I've met and stuff, I don't think they're terrified of being out of control.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
You have to allow for a bit of chaos.
You
have to allow for a bit of wildness.
It's fucking Ireland, for fuck's sake. Like,
it's like you have to allow for, because I've been there. You finish up a gig and like, okay, I've got to get up at this time in the morning. I want to do this and this and this. Someone says pint. And you're just like,
yeah.
And it's like, and you stay out and you've great crack, but you wouldn't have had if you were regimented.
Like, Jesus, I mean, you just, once you can still get the jobs done.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, but fucking hell, you have to leave a bit of flex. Or I think you go stone fucking mad.
I think so.
You'd end up being that bollocks at
the fella who's like, I only had water with my dinner. So, that kind of a fella. You know, that kind of fella.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Did it put a drop of my waddy on it? Relax.
Yeah. He's exactly right.
Maybe a fucking but like that, you move around a fair bit, like, but you were saying to me that did you go out and do a birthday party or something, or a wedding out in fucking New Zealand?
This is
this
was wild. Right?
How the fuck did that happen?
I was gigging just in Temple Bar, regular kind of cover gig, and this couple walk in like, we just got engaged, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. What's your name? I made a big deal out of them.
Right.
Whole place, giving them
Jesus, this is making my story sound kind of shy. Do you remember it was only in Johnny Fox's and he came out to fucking Kildare?
But I made a big deal out of them. What's your song? And I sang their song. It was a Crowded House song or something. And they said, you have to play at our wedding. And this would happen quite a lot when people are drunk. Yeah. Just like, oh, you have to play at the wedding. We have to have you. And I was like, oh. And me being used to it, there was like, yeah, of course. Here's my card. Give me an email in the morning. No problem. Where's the wedding? And they were like, Auckland. Like,
Auckland in Leitrim?
Auckland, New Zealand. And they were like, yeah. I was like, right, man, that's my card. If you email me in the morning, I'll be there. And first thing, following morning, got an email. They flew me over.
Stop the lights.
Flew me over to Auckland.
Worth a fucking fortune, were they?
That wasn't like, if you were thinking of, I won't go into it, but think of how much a wedding band would cost you.
Oh, right enough, yeah.
To fly a fella to New Zealand and fly him back, and that was the fee. I didn't command a fee. It was just the flights.
How bad?
And they put me up. They put me up for 4 days. Stay with the family. And this amazing place called Waiuku. I mean, like
any place called Waiuku has to be fucking class.
It was paradise. The first day I got there, I was trying to stay awake, until whatever 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the night. And they said, we're going golfing if you want to come. There's like would it be a 9-hole course just down around the corner.
Grand.
So went around, went golfing, which I cannot do well.
Actually, most people can't, truth be told. Even if they've all the gear, they still shite.
Father of the bride was good, and then there was like me and a few of the best men or the groomsmen.
Right.
We were all useless. But we had just bottles of beer in the bags, walking around this sun-soaked golf course as the sun went down. These like amazing views of the beach and the ocean.
Jesus.
And this is me just off the plane, and I'm just like, this was such a good call, to agree to this, because it was kind of a shot in the like I said, I was going to New Zealand.
Were they Kiwis or were they Irish?
They were Kiwis. They were living in London, and they had come over from London. They were living in London, working in London. Came over to Dublin, and your man obviously popped the question over here,
right?
And then I'd seen them once or twice since they came over. I think we played New Zealand around that time, whenever it was a few years ago. So I met them. And we got on really well, but you're still kind of flying out, And I was, for the few days, I was with the family for 4 days, and I was the sort of, and this is Dan, the singer, and you have to explain the whole thing to everybody you meet, you know what I mean? And you're like, shiny thing.
It's a story. It's a story. Yeah, you're a walking story. Yeah,
amazing. Yeah. I was a story, and it was like, it was a very cool thing to do, and it was, like, for them without. It's not blowing my own horn. It's like, to fly a fella, halfway around the world or across the whole world.
Yeah, yeah.
And we met him the night we got engaged. It was a great story.
Great story.
They got the hall or whatever, the big venue that they were after getting married and having their reception, or the meal rather. They had like 3 banquet tables.
Yeah.
And then one across the top of the room, say, where the groom was sat and all the best men or whatever, the groomsmen. And the groom made a speech and he said, "And now, all the way from Dublin, Ireland, will you please welcome Mr. Dan Elliott." And he points, and like every head turns from facing him to facing the other end of the hall where I'm sat, just on my own, about kind of like 20 feet from anyone. Just like, oh shit.
You got up to the mic and went, that's Cork, actually.
Yeah. But it's in no pressure, like. Yeah. Only, it was one of those things I played. It was Fall at Your Feet was their first dance.
Oh, yeah.
Crowded House being huge in that part of the world. And I started playing it, they came up and they danced, and everybody joined in. And I just transitioned off the back of that song into whatever, I think it was I'm Yours or something, just to get them all dancing.
Yeah.
And from that until the end of the gig, the place was hopping. Like, as soon as you started that song, everyone just got up and you knew that it was going to be fine. Because imagine the pressure, like.
Jesus,
they're after flying me from Ireland to New Zealand.
I mean, you would say, okay, bets are on that it's going to go good, but there's a possibility that...
But it's like, I was the band.
Yeah.
There was no band, it was me. It was just me.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I'm either going to, this is going to go really well, or I'm going to ruin this wedding.
Jesus, yeah. yeah.
So I did that, did the wedding, stayed with them for a couple of days, and I just went off then for 3 weeks, travelled New Zealand.
With your guitar on your back?
Guitar on my back, and it was kind of, I was down in is it Queenstown? It's Queenstown, Queensland, South Island. I'm very bad, I was there. But
oh, jeez, I couldn't tell you.
I was there in that kind of...
I guarantee you there's people listening to this in New Zealand going, would you fuck up?
So I think it's Queenstown. That was my base for about 10 days.
Right.
And it's kind of a touristy spot. It's like Temple Bar-ish even.
Right, yeah.
So we wandering around.
And
I made mates with this fella from down, I think he was from, a musician. And just my way of kind of meeting people was rock into a pub.
Yeah.
Met this fella like 2 nights in and was like, "Can I sing a song?" Sang 2 songs. And then someone was like, "That was great. Come join us." Because I really was. I was on my own.
It's great.
And it was savage. It was a great experience. But that was my way of, ingratiating myself to people, or to meet people. It was, as opposed to just wandering up to a random table of people.
But it's a great way because you don't know what a lunatic is. But at least if a fella has some, it's for them to gauge.
And it is like, if somebody just went up to you at a bar, you and your mates, and just said hello, he might be the nicest guy in the world, but you're still going to go like,
"Who's this mad fuck?
Why are you talking to him?"
Yeah.
And I was on my own for like 3 weeks in New Zealand, traveling around, and it was amazing. And I met loads of people as I traveled around, like just you just met people on whatever, like the different tours and things you were doing. And I wouldn't be that kind of a fella. I would have been, like I'd be in a bar, and if I was sitting on my own, I'd sit on my own.
Right,
kind of guy,
well, that's great, isn't it?
But as in, like, when I went up...
How did that decision come around then to go, fucking, I'm going to go out and meet some people?
What do you mean decision? Like, do you want to come to New Zealand for free? I was like, fucking...
But then you hung around, like, is what I'm saying. You didn't go straight back, like...
Well, like, you're going all the way to New Zealand. You'd want to hang around a bit, like... even I got asked to go back to play at I hope they don't hear this. I got asked to play at the best man's wedding, and I just kind of said, I can't commit. Yeah, you're going a minimum 2 weeks at least. If you're going,
you're at nothing popping over for a weekend. Like
you really aren't. I don't know what. Because I wonder now if you flew straight over, played the wedding, and came straight back, would you not get jet lagged? Because you were been gone for so short a time.
You'd probably lose a leg or something. You'd get gout or something would happen. Like
But no, like that is probably the most hectic thing now that's happened.
Jesus, right? So do you know what? Let's break up the show with another song.
Sure.
Fuck it, let's break it up with another song.
Sure, I might play. This is the single. The song that came out.
Yeah. Let's have your single.
Yeah, right.
I don't see you anymore. You ain't been knocking on my bedroom door. Yeah, you know I miss you and what we could have been. Baby, do you want to come and meet me in between? We said that love would last forever. We said that we would stay together. Everything was so much better when it was you and I. You and I will make it past demons running through the long, long grass. I always thought you'd stay. You and I will make it through all the things that we said we'd do. Babe, it's go back to Chicago. Come on, let's get away. Let's buy a one-way ticket. Hell, we'll take a private plane. Let's leave this town behind, go crazy and free our minds. Let's find the time to find the time. This time around, yeah, we gon' do it right. We thought the sun would shine forever. We thought we'd bear the stormy weather. Everything was so much better when it was you and I. You and I will make it past demons running through the long, long grass. I always thought you'd stay. You and I will make it through all the things that we said we'd do. Babe, it's only ever been you. The things I've done, the things you've seen. My mistake's your mistake for believing in me. I know I let you down. But this time I know I won't stay or drink. I'll always come home. Oh, I won't ignore you when you hit up my phone. I'll be better this time, baby. I'll be better this time. You and I will make it past demons running through the long, long grass. I always thought you'd stay. You and I will make it through all the things that we said we'd do. Babe, it's only ever been. You and I will make it past demons running through the long, long grass. I always thought you'd stay. You and I will make it through all the things that we said we'd do. Babe, it's only ever been you. Babe, it's only ever been you. Babe, it's only ever been.
Well done, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Is that? Tell me this now. Is that your, like that one? Is that your first?
It's my debut.
That's your debut.
My well, to use that word, but yeah, it's my
first.
Because
I didn't. Debut. I don't know what word to use for it.
I guess that would be the word. Yeah.
But it's a good song, isn't it?
Thank you very much.
Very good. Very that sits well with me. A lot of music, like, have you noticed, like as we were talking, I suppose. As we were saying earlier, like lads picking up, I suppose, as you were saying, like if you were listening to Bruce Springsteen a lot, I don't know who, but there seems to be this kind of slack-jawed thing that seems to have coming in. I don't know who's to blame for it. It's somebody's. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. It's just, why aren't you fucking enunciating?
Why aren't you pronouncing the word?
Yeah.
That's not how you say that word. Yeah.
They're trying to say the word hurt, and they're just the T and the R is falling off at the end of the.
There is. I honestly couldn't tell you
who's to blame for that,
where that's come from, or what it is. But it's a big thing. It's everywhere, and it's kind of like, is it like, do you know, the next stage?
I know Paolo Nutini was kind of doing a little bit of it. Well,
he was still,
but even
singing.
No, he wasn't. I'm blaming him wrong. No, there is a band.
It's because people's clothes are getting progressively baggier.
Is that it?
So is their pronunciation of words. It's
or
getting
is it
looser
that their jeans are getting tighter? It's just squeezing the fucking enunciation out of people.
Maybe that's it. I know what you mean. Yeah, I can't. I'm not the man to give you the answer there.
Yeah, because it's such a relief. And in fairness, now you sent me on the song. You sent me on the clip on Spotify, and I was like, oh no, that's now we can hang our hat on that, like, for fuck's sake, because Jesus, like, I mean, if a fella was, you know, because you do, and you're kind of like, every so often I'll get sent on clips of stand up from lads because they want input, like, and I'll cut it straight from. I'll go, lad, no.
Yeah,
this is fucking wrong now, and this and this, and there's times when you're going, I don't even know what to fucking tell you.
Yeah, it's just
maybe you might want to take up painting or something because it's not suiting you. You know what I mean? You know, so and you feel under pressure a small bit, like
yeah.
But like that, I knew I didn't know because I didn't find your single first when we were in contact first. I found you'd done a couple of covers, but like, he can sing rightly. Do you know, he can sing rightly. There's no two ways about that. Yeah, and then you sent me on your own song. I was like, he's off to the races. He's grand. Like, you know.
Thank you very much. No, it was a long time coming. I was over in London just before Christmas, working with a fella called Ben Cullum. He'd be the brother of a guy called Jamie Cullum.
Oh yeah.
And so I was ecstatic to be working with him, and it was just for
what were you doing with him when you say you were working with him? Like
recording. He was the producer. So Ben was the producer. Of the tracks. And the guy I co-wrote that song with, have you heard of Ryan McMullen?
Yeah.
So a guy called Jason Clark, who would write a lot of songs with Ryan. I got put in touch with Jason. We wrote that song and another one, and he passed the songs on to this guy Ben. He knew I was looking for a producer, someone I could kind of. It's a weird thing to find a producer, because I had worked with people in the past and just found that maybe, again, like, I kind of find all this sort of talk a bit wanky, but
who gives a fuck? If it's the truth, I don't give a shite.
The kind of creative vision or whatever wasn't the same, or like,
I get you. This
fella Ben is a genius, and he also said, "But it's your song though." So like whatever you want, like I'll tell you what I think you should do, and if you don't like it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Whereas other lads be very keen to put their stamp on it.
I'm with you.
And I kind of had worked with guys in the past, like, do you mind if we add this or take this out? And he'd be like, oh, that's a good idea, but let's just do it my way though.
It's a fine line too.
Mate, I'm paying you.
You got lucky there, because you could be meeting turkeys for a long time.
I mean, like I've recorded stuff in the past, but I'd be very sort of. I think. Over the course of maybe the last 2 years, I found out exactly what I didn't want to do.
Yeah,
and what I didn't. I learned a lot and figured out exactly who I didn't want to be, and the things I didn't want to put out into the world, musically, or just the way even that you present yourself to the world.
Yeah.
Because like I kind of found I met an awful lot of people who tell you, "Geez, Dan, you can't do that."
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
Oh, you have to do this. You can't do that. And you can't do this. And you have to do that.
Oh, welcome to my world.
And it was and it was very much sort of so. Essentially, it was kind of like. I found I was almost streamlining my personality or something.
Yeah,
as opposed to coming on here talking to you.
Yeah.
I'd kind of be like very banal, very kind of, very genial, sort of whatever, middle of the road talk that is extremely inoffensive and reveals nothing.
I call it insta personality.
Yeah, there you go. And
you look off into the middle distance.
And I just sort of found I was being told a lot of stuff, and I was not enjoying. I felt like I wasn't working for myself anymore. I felt like, why? Like, who am I doing this for? Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And I wanted to go away and find songs that I wanted to record, and I wanted to sing and record them and make them sound how I wanted them to sound.
Of course. Well, that makes sense, because you wouldn't be long fucking going back to teaching, because you get sick of it.
I found, as opposed to sitting down writing songs or thinking about releasing songs, being like, what songs do I like? I was like, what's going to get in the radio? And what's going to what's going to impress other people? So who gives a fuck? I mean,
it'll come right in the end.
I kind of the current kind of my current, not strategy is the wrong word, but the way I'm kind of going about things at the moment is release what you want to release and be yourself. Like people, I find anybody that I go and see, typically, I want to go see them. I want to go see you do your stand up. I want to go see David Gray be David Gray.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? I don't want to go see David Gray be some streamlined version that somebody behind the scenes has manufactured.
Yeah.
And maybe someone's going to text me now and say David Gray is extremely... I have no idea. But I just wanted to... I said, look, go out there, be yourself.
Yeah.
And just do what you want to do. And doing... I found that the advice to be yourself is in fact... it's the best advice you could possibly receive. You really do have to be yourself. But in being yourself, you don't have to be different. I find there's a confusion between be yourself. You don't have to be like outwardly yourself, if that makes sense. Just like being yourself doesn't mean wear multicolored loads of things and be a bit hectic. Being yourself, being myself, for me, it was just stop trying. I don't care. It's not that I don't care what other people think. Of course, I want people to like the songs. But it's more kind of I wrote the song. I hope you like it, but this is the song. I'm not going to change it. Because a fella. Reckons it to be more radio friendly if it's whatever. I don't know. These are all half-formed thoughts in my head. But
no, listen, the cream always rises to the top. Anyway, I'm a firm believer in that in the long run, because sure, look at it. Like, I curse too much. I'm too fucking rough. I'm in no way apologetic.
Yeah.
Like in my stand-up, like, you know what I mean. And I've had it said to me, like, you're way too brash. Like, you're way too rough for because you need to kind of slag yourself a bit more. I'm like, fuck, I'm grand with myself. You're grand. Yeah. And, there needs to be, like, because there was this whole trend for a good few years, especially in the UK, there was a big trend of, like, oh, my God, my dad thinks I'm such a failure. And I'm like, what? No. And this was a thing that was being put across to me and a bunch of others. I was like, well, I'm not fucking doing it anyway. Well, I can't make it fucking funny.
But it's like that, like, why are you... I don't want to... I write songs and make music because I love doing it.
Yeah.
And I've always, since I was about 16, 17 years old, I've loved doing it. And I found that I was sitting down to write songs and I was thinking about, like... God forbid, I was thinking about like what's trendy or what's hot right now. Like I'd hate to I'd hate for that to be the kind of artist I was.
Yeah.
Where it was all about
you start getting slack-jawed.
Yeah, but God, like, as in, I would love to play the biggest stadiums, the biggest whatever in the world, but you want to do it because people are coming to see you.
Yeah.
They're not coming to see, some manufactured version of yourself. And I there is a middle ground. You can't, be releasing 7.5 minute long songs and expecting them to get played on whatever.
I get you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, you still have to be yourself. And I found that I just was so uncomfortable, and I was not enjoying playing music. I was not enjoying getting up in front of people and saying, this is me. Because it wasn't me.
Makes perfect sense, though.
So I think in the last couple of years, I figured out what I didn't want to do and who I didn't want to be. And eventually kind of...
And down on that, you see, I think too, is if you... probably comes down to nearly an intelligence thing, like, whereas, performance intelligence, you're like, I can't fucking live with this if I'm not doing it my way. Like,
exactly, yeah.
And there's people that can.
Yeah.
There's people that are happy out because they're being that middle ground where I'm going to keep pumping out stuff that I think you want to hear, and I don't really want to put my stamp on it.
And, like, there's... So... I remember saying to my owl boy about a particular band. They're a very, very famous band. I feel like I don't want to say who they are, even though like I'm never going to meet them. They're enormous, right? But it's Coldplay. They after like two or three albums.
Watch now, you're gonna fucking phone call
from Chris. We thought you were cool, but they were like the biggest band on the planet, right? After 2 or 3 albums, and they could have done anything. They could have made any sort of experimental anything.
Yeah.
And sure, they're Coldplay already. They've made the money, and forever will, with The Scientist and Yellow and whatever playing over and over and over.
Ever.
And it just seems in the last couple of albums they've done, they seem to be chasing whatever is trendy or whatever is modern.
Yeah.
And my dad said everyone's gonna do something. So it was kind of saying like you're looking at music as kind of as you portraying or pursuit of a passion, and you're portraying the things that you think and whatever. Maybe they're just trying to be the biggest band in the world, and there's definitely
I suppose
that's the thing. That's great, but I would know lads who are trying to just make themselves the biggest acts that they can be, the biggest, and that's fine as well if that's why you're in it, or because it's a job, it's still a career. Do you know what I mean? It's be like me trying to be the biggest. I can't think of a thing. Or I'd say if I wasn't passionate about comedy and turned out I was actually half decent at comedy.
Yeah.
And I just kind of approached it from what's going to now get me the most laughs and get me in front of the most people.
There's a few of them around, all right.
I can imagine. But it happens in music as well.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't really be for that. I want to be in front of as many people as is possible, but I want it to be my music.
For the right reason.
For the right reason. Not even the right reason. It's not like, it's whatever. Like, music, I know people who give out stink about Ed Sheeran or any other mainstream act you can care to mention because they're this and they're that and they're not real musicians and they're whatever. It's like, if it sounds pleasant to my ear, it's fine. I don't care who you are or what it is or how many people wrote it or how you maybe marketed it for whatever and you did all the different data whatever to make sure it was catchy on your ear. It's catchy on my ear. It's catchy on my ear. I don't mind.
You're never going to make everybody happy, for fuck's sake.
Music's only music. I really now the way I've been operating is just make the music that you enjoy making, and hopefully other people will enjoy it.
I think people probably pick up on the enjoyment that's in a thing too. Like, you know what I mean? Because I was only at Joe Rooney on the last day, and we were talking about like when you go on, and you're only fucking half.
My old boy saw him in He was down in Castleton Bear, and
was he?
He said he was unbelievable.
Go ahead.
My dad and my brother saw him. My dad's from Castleton Bear.
All right, is he?
Far west as you can go.
That's a lovely spot, though.
It's absolutely gorgeous. There's nowhere more beautiful on God's green earth except when it's raining, where. When it's properly wet and horrible, it's bleak.
I think we went on a stag do one weekend.
No way, that's my plan. I'm going on. That's where my stag is going to be.
My brother-in-law's stag. I'd say I think because the sobriety
don't
was
remember
not
much of
Clonakilty onwards.
Yeah, we got in a car in Tipperary and then
quite
we
literally
landed back 2 days later.
And it was one of the few times I wasn't fucking driving. We stopped about 3 times for bites to eat and pisses. And
you were pointing out the best garages.
I was quite literally. I was snaking in a drink everywhere I was going.
Good luck.
By the time we got to Castleton Bear. I was on it, and I remember they were bringing in. Jesus, it was beautiful. It just had worked. The sun was out, and they were having a boat building competition down at the whatchamacallit. And I was watching on the boys, and I was just coming out with pints, creamy pints, and then the pub was giving away free. If you were drinking Guinness, they were giving away free boiled langoustines.
No way.
Yeah, fresh langoustines were coming straight in from the fishermen.
No way.
And they were
only if you're drinking Guinness.
Weirdly,
right?
Guinness, pints of Guinness.
Okay.
There must have been a promotion on or something. I don't know, but I was happy out. Even lads that were drinking Guinness who didn't like Langoustines were just throwing me bowls of it. I was gobbling these bastards down anyway. It's just fucking some weekend.
I play there every August bank holiday. I do a gig down there.
Be some spot.
And it's just we were down there. So I was playing on the Saturday, and the Sunday I think was the plan.
Right.
So the Saturday was the big one kind of, and Sunday was big-ish, but it kind of petered out because it was like this 2-week. It was a 2-week festival. Is what it was. It was the Festival of the Sea or something. So it was actually the previous weekend had been the bank holiday weekend.
Right.
So I was down for the following Saturday. So the tail end, say, of this whole kind of festival. And the Saturday was absolutely hopping. And one quick thing, I had played the gig. Place was like, as in you had like 15-year-olds. Fucking 50-year-olds, 90-year-olds, all of them sculling pints. Place absolutely loose.
15-year-olds sculling pints. That's West Cork for you.
It's I won't say which pub or which establishment it was. But,
listen, we all drank pints.
But it was like absolutely loose, absolutely like, hectic, like. And I was like, everyone would know my dad. Because like he would have, one of the fellas who gigged in the area, everyone was know him, and everyone was like, Joe for a song, get Joe up for a song there. So Joe gets up for a song and sang The Town I Love So Well, and no word of a lie, the entire pub stood to attention.
Go away.
It's Castletown Bear. It's a song. It's the song of the place. Like, it's not
is
about,
it?
Well, it's not about Castletown Bear.
No,
but just Castletown Bear would identify with that song. Right?
So Londonderry, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Londonderry. But there's a line in that song about the derriere.
Yeah.
And I used to think it was about somebody's bottom.
I always... I don't know how that was never made a thing. Like,
it's like, the line in The Gamblers. If you're going to play the Game Boy, you got to learn.
I know.
Game Boy Color. I thought it was a Game Boy.
Yeah.
But the whole pub stood to attention. And it was just an incredible moment of like, because this wasn't like, no one went, shh.
Yeah,
it was just you started singing,
just known,
and everyone was just kind of like, I don't even think it's known that everyone would know that song and it's associated with the town, but it wouldn't necessarily be a rule that you all stopped when you sang it. Like, but it just on this occasion, everyone was kind of turned around and they all sang the chorus, and all of a sudden everybody was just staring up at Joe. But the following day, then we were down in Cork, we're playing Waterford.
Is your father Joe Elliott then?
He's not. He's the Elliots of Castletown Bear.
Just it dawned on me, I went, was he a Def Leppard?
He was... Murphy's Men he was in. No, you're confusing him. He's the other one.
I love the idea that Joe Elliott moved to Castletown Bear and became a trad singer. Like.
Joe
kept the long hair.
O'Sullivan's my father's name.
Right.
And I even found, my name's Daniel O'Sullivan is my name.
Is it?
I would be saying Daniel O'Sullivan on stage, and it'd just be like, that took about half a day to say.
I know, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Even the tourists would be like, what? So Dan Elliott is the stage job. But I was so the following day we had the Cork Waterford game was on.
Right.
And we were on after. It was like, we'll do a gig, and sure, if there's anyone around, there's people around. It was myself, my brother, the owl boy, and the fella he was in a band with, the accordion player, Brendan. Yeah. We played from 5 to 2.
5 to 2
5 p.m. till 2 a.m. And then we did a thing then called the pool vault, the inaugural pool vault, whereby we got a pool table and we vaulted it. So you would run at the pool table and lap over it, right? The pool vault. So you knocked down
full of pines.
Oh, full, absolutely. I said, like, there's video footage. I'll send it on.
Oh Lord!
But it was getting to the stage where there was these two young fellas. My brother, who was maybe 17, and another fella who was 18, 19, played Ga in the town, and they were vaulting it, no problem.
Course, yeah.
We were all out like. So we started piling boxes on top of the pool table.
Oh no.
And then it was just your man went just over the fella, the 18, 19-year-old, but he racked into the radiator then on the far wall, slapped his knee off it, crippled on the ground, and it's like, we should probably stop.
Yeah.
You know,
and drinks like
it's 3:30 in the morning and we're jumping pool tables. This is not safe.
You were saying, like, we were joking about go open, but you have opened for a couple of tasty acts as well, though. Haven't you?
Yeah, I've had a few bits. I opened for Aslan.
Nice.
Opened for Ryan Sheridan.
Oh yeah.
Who's unbelievable. His gig was something else.
He absolutely stole a crowd on me one night in Galway, but sure, look at
no way, really.
I was a gig that I was doing, and he was on up the road. It was booked. It shouldn't have been booked.
Because
nobody.
Yeah.
It was like a midweek in Galway. Nobody was going to see me. They were all up to see Ryan Sheridan, which is totally understandable. But for the few people that did come to my gig, it was like, we had a great time slagging off Ryan Sheridan. Going, that cunt up the road.
Do you know, I only see, Mark Watson?
I
only see him in Whelan's, and there were so few people in the audience. It sounds awful. It was like 20 people in the audience in the main room in Whelan's. Like, he just walked out with no mic. But the first 30 minutes was him ripping the piss out of the fact there's nobody there. I think Mark Watson's one of the funniest comedians I've ever seen. But I feel like I've opened for other people, but I sang with Gavin James up in...
did you?
Well, Gav used to play in Temple Bar.
Wait, it was Gavin James.
Which?
That stole my audience. Not Ryan.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's Gavin James.
He's a bad man, is Gav. No, he's that. He probably... I from the few famous people I've met, he seems completely literally doesn't even occur to him that anyone would know who he is. Do you know what I mean? Like, we'd be in a pub and someone come up to him and he seems like almost surprised that someone has come up to him.
Right,
So we'd be having pints. He's so nice about it to anybody. But like, I remember, I think he'd sold at the Olympia 3 nights in a row. Jesus, and I think I'd met him twice. And two of my mates are in a band called Sarloos.
Right.
And they open for Gavin all the time on his tours and things.
Yeah.
So one of the boys said, we're having like an after party in one of the bars, so come on down like after your gig. And I was like, yeah, savage. Went down and Gav was like on the stairs talking to somebody. And when he was in the middle of like in a conversation. And the second he saw me, just like broke away from the conversation. And was like, hey man.
Jeez,
I've met you twice. Do you know what I mean? Like, but he's just a really, really genuine.
He'd probably go. I mean, there's a reason why too. He'll go far. Like, you know
yeah,
what I mean,
like he's amazing. Like, it's in
talented, but
we were in
sound as well. Like,
we were in Doyle's one night, and like I think it might have been the same night. It was like a lock-in in Doyle's, and there was just a guitar being passed around between like 7 class musicians and me. And
such an Irish thing to do. They were all great.
I'm not saying I'm good. Like I wouldn't be.
Fuck off.
No, wait. I'm not an asshole. But he just like to be kind of, because obviously you hear his songs and you see him maybe in the Olympia or something. Yeah. But you're standing kind of as I am to you, like 5 feet away from him, and he's doing the really high falsetto-y stuff.
Jesus,
You're looking at him going like, how though? Like,
you bastard.
How are you doing that? And like I think it's mad because like, if you sing all the time, your voice get a bit sore. You'd imagine something like as delicate as that might be difficult to do. Because I've never seen him not, be able to do it.
He's probably on that fucking whiskey honey liqueur show.
Maybe it is. Maybe he is. We should all be on it. It's gorgeous.
So Whelan sold out.
Whelan sold out, which was a buzz. I wasn't going to do a gig at all. There was so much going on with the release of the single. Yeah. And it's only out kind of 2 weeks now. I released it and I just got so much positive feedback coming back, and it was sort of, there's like I was saying earlier about everything you do kind of in not the public eye as it were, but like it's all for other, it's in front of people. I kind of thought the pressure of organising a gig and trying to sell enough tickets and whatever, is it going to be, because I was doing all the stuff myself. I was under pressure. And I kind of just, it was going down so well, and I was playing it everywhere, and I was doing all these different gigs. I was like, I love gigging.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm just going to organise, fuck it. Like, I organise a gig, why wouldn't I organise a gig?
Yeah.
It'll be great. And I put the tickets up for sale in 10 days, 120 tickets, gone.
Beautiful.
And yeah, that's today's Tuesday, so it's tomorrow week as we record.
Is it tomorrow week?
Wednesday 13th, yeah.
So this comes out on Friday. Sorry lads, no fucking tickets.
It's sold out, boys. Well, there'll be, I shouldn't even be saying it really, but we're trying to move it to a bigger space. So if it's moved to a bigger space, go on and check the my Instagram page. Or my
between
Facebook.
now and
the Wednesday, if it gets moved to a bigger space, there'll be extra tickets.
Right.
But there's no guarantee we get the bigger space.
Right. So who is new to you? Where can they find you really quickly?
If you want to find me anywhere, Dan Elliott Music on any platform, Instagram,
2 L's, 2 T's.
2 L's, 2 T's, bite. Fair play. I know I have to say that myself. I'm on several posters, including a poster in this pub I've played in for 2 years with 1 T. And then if you want to find me on Spotify, it's just Dan Elliott, and the single is called Only Ever Been You. And I'll put all these in the links in the description too, so people can click through. But sometimes some podcast fucking apps don't allow you to click through. So at least Dan Elliott. It's a simple Dan Elliott on anything.
It's a handy one. Yeah, you do pop up very quickly.
It's gas. I would get people from someone from Chile to come up to you, be like, can you find yourself on Instagram there after a gig? And you just go Dan ELL. There I am.
I think when people, your average person's name isn't searched for relatively, so when you're in the public eye and you're online and you're selling tickets and shit like that and you're reading venues, your name does pop up a fair bit. So I think Google is kind of going, they're probably looking for Dan Elliott,
yes,
not Dan Eleanor. You know what I mean? So I'm guessing if Google can listen to you,
it's probably that singer fella who's always on social media, as opposed to the 50-year-old teacher who's got 2 posts and has had an account since 2013.
This is the thing. So, do you know what? Would you finish us out?
I will.
Would you close us out with a fucking
no
song?
bother.
Dan, it's been an absolute fucking pleasure.
Thank you
We
very
have
much.
101 guests and first ever musical guests.
There you go. Well,
very, very exciting.
Thank you for having me.
So, like Dan was saying, keep an eye on him, follow him quickly, so that you can actually keep. If it is moving to a bigger space, but this won't be the. Jeez, this isn't your sponsor. You're not moving off into the sunset. There'll be plenty more gigs coming down the line.
The first single came out, and there's 2 more to come in the next couple of months, and there'll be more gigs this summer and loads of news.
Outstanding stuff. Brilliant stuff. Thanks a million, Dan.
Right, thank you very much for having me, Tom.
Cheers.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. For commitment's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. I gotta make you understand. Oh, I'm never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna turn around and hurt you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. Ooh. Never gonna give, never gonna give. Say no, 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 no. I'm never gonna give, never gonna give. Oh, I'm never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna turn around and hurt you. Never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. Never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
My thanks to Dan. Fair play. How class was that? Good on you, Dan. That was fucking quality. For first time ever music you won. Wasn't bad. On my behalf. Well, no, shite on my behalf. But Dan actually fucking saved the day with his fucking quality singing. Right, hit subscribe if it's your first time listening. Give us a rating on whatever podcast app is allowing you to rate it. Follow me on all usual platforms of Tom O'Mahony Comedy. You'll pretty much find it everywhere. Chatty Snaps, which I don't really use, but Tom Bear O'Mahony will find that. Hit me up wherever the fuck. I will answer you back. Send me on your pictures from the booze and woozing over the weekend. And I'll catch you again on Tuesday with the old Ramble Pod. Good luck.